Okay, if you've mastered how to get a molar mass, then what we want to do now is go from moles to mass and mass to moles, right? Sounds like a little tongue twister there. But we measure stuff in mass, and we need to convert to moles to do the science part. And then once we've done the science part of the chemistry part, we need to convert back from moles to mass so we can report back our findings, right? So this is just like any other unit conversion. You're going to write down your given amount first. Then you're going to multiply the fraction by a fraction or a conversion factor. We're going to call this the conversion factor. Conversion factor. And the key here is that the units that you want to cancel that you start with, so in other words, if you start with grams on, as you're given grams, those gram units need to be on the bottom. All right, so they can cancel with the gram units that you're given. And then what you're converting to, your desired units, that's the converting to, is going to be on the top. All right. So the way I look at it is you're given the gram, the value that you have or given is going to be the one that you're going to be putting on the bottom, the conversion factor. So let me just write it out this way. And then the last thing you do is just a math part, plug in the values for substances, molar mass, or for whatever unit conversion you're doing, and then you get X grams and moles. So let's just try it this way real quick. So this, let me put down here, we're given grams that we measure out of our material, right? And then we multiply that by some fraction, right? And on the bottom here, we're going to put the fraction bottom here is going to also be in grams. That's our molar mass in grams. Molar mass, right? That's our molar mass, but it's going to be in grams. And then on the top, we're going to put 1 mole, right? And that's going to give me moles over here, right? So these units should match. Those should match. And these units should match, right? And if you can do that, then the standard, just putting in the numbers in your calculator or doing it in your head, it should make your life easier, right? So the units on the top should match what the units that you're looking for, and the units that you're given should match what the units are on the bottom. So let's just do an example on the next page real quick. Okay, so here's a quick problem here. It's not something to do with chemistry, but it's just to show you the basic process first. Then we'll do an example with chemistry, and then I'll let you do your own examples to see if you can figure it out on your own. Okay, so the first one is I have 26 quarters, 25-cent pieces, and I want to know how many dollars this is. So we were given 26 quarters, right? So let's write that down right here. 26 quarters. I'm just going to abbreviate in quarters. I'm just going to abbreviate it QRT just for the so I don't have to write everything out. So QRT, and I always put that over 1 just to make sure I'm doing it. And then I know that there are 4 quarters in $1. So let me write that over here. There's 4 quarters. And then on the top here, I'm going to put just different color, $1. Okay, and that's going to give me the number of dollars, right? And so that's going to give me the number of dollars. So notice something here, as I said before, the quarter units they match, and there's a quarter here, and that matches the quarter up there. So that's good. And then then that's good. And the dollar units is what the match I'm looking for dollars. So that's on the top, right? And so that's good because I'm looking for dollars here. This is what I'm looking for, right? So then we do this, just do the math right here. So 4 into 26 is going to be a little bit less than 6. A little bit less than 7. It will be. Okay, so the answer will be $6.50. So let's just write that here, $6.50. Okay, So that's just the basic setup of that. And then you would apply the same principle to a chemical formula. And let's just look at the chemical way to do it real quick on a generic level. And then the next slide will have you a more specific example. So you would be given a number of grams of chemical. So we're just going to call this grams of a chemical. So that's what you're given. And then what you're going to do is to convert it to moles. You're going to multiply that by 1 mole over the chemical molar mass in grams. And you already know how to do that. You already know how to calculate that, so you should be done with that. So the chemical molar mass in grams, notice that the grams will, and then that should give you, notice that the grams will cancel out, right? Grams and grams, and then you should get the number of moles. So the same thing up here. Instead of quarters and dollars, we have grams of this and moles of grams of chemical divided by 1 mole of the molar mass of that to give you the number of moles, right? So you could think in this case that the moles represent the dollars up here. They are similar to the dollars here, and then the grams are similar to the quarters here. And then our conversion factor here, this 4/4 thing, it would be similar to the chemical molar mass in grams. So let's try it on the next slide with the actual numbers. Okay, now that you're good at calculating the molar mass of something and you understand how we're going to go from grams to moles, let's look at this at a real specific application for chemistry. So we're just going to write here, we're going to go from mass in grams to, we're going to put a little different color here, to moles, right? And the abbreviation of moles is obviously MOL. And let's just do a real equation here, a little problem here. So we're going to start out with 40 grams of H2O. I'll call it liquid. And then we want to know how many moles. Okay, how many moles. And we already know how to calculate. So the first step would be to calculate H2O. I'm going to make that H a little bit neater so that somebody doesn't think that's an A. So H2O molar mass, right? So let's do that real quick. And we know that the molar mass is going to be 2 times 1, 2 times H, and then plus 1 times O. And that's going to be 2 times 1 plus 1 times 16, which gives me 18 grams per mole. All right. So that's good to go. And then now we set up our equation below because now we know here's our molar mass. This is our molar mass. Right? So our equation below is the following, right? We're given 40 grams, so let's put that here, 40 grams of H2O. All right, so that's from here. That's our have. We have this information. And then I always put it over 1, so I make sure that I'm doing the and not putting in the denominator, or I'm not getting it mixed up. And then we multiply that by 1 mole over 18 grams, right? As that's the molar mass of H2O. 1 mole of H2O is equal to 18 grams of H2O. And I know it says times here, but really what you're doing, in essence, is you're dividing 18, which is the molar mass, into the number of grams that you have, right? But we set it up this way because there could be at some point multiple operations that we do. And then if you do this, you've got 18 divided into 40 divided by 18. You should get 2.22 moles, right, of H2O. And let's look here. So let's look at here. So things are going to cancel. So the grams will cancel. And the only thing I have left on the top is moles, right? So that's moles. That's my only unit left on top. Therefore, that has to be there. And notice that the unit on top is what the unit I end up with in my answer. And the unit on the top in the beginning of the problem is the unit on the bottom of my conversion factor, right? So these units match here, this one and this one, the grams match, and then the moles match, right? Okay, so that is the nutshell of how we do this. And so you should be able to set this up, use this template, and go for do these calculations on your own. So the next slide has a bunch of practice problems that you can do for the video, and then if you get it good on that, then you can go back and do some of the practice problems on your homework assignment. Okay, so here's some practice problems that you can do on your own, and then come back to the video and I will give you the answers. So you can either write these down on a piece of paper on your own, or you can just kind of mentally do them in your head or whatever. But so when you're ready to work on the problems yourself, stop the video. When you're ready to reveal the answers, hit play again on the video and come back and I'll talk about the answers. Okay, you're back, and here I've listed all the answers for you on the right-hand side in red. And so you should check your answers. If you didn't get these answers, you should go back and try and do it again. I gave you a sample of how I did it on the bottom one for H3O3. I took the grams that I was given, and I multiplied it, or excuse me, divided it by the molar mass times 1 mole to get me 1.49 moles. So you should set it up that way and then see if you get a better answer from your thing. Okay, if you've mastered going from grams to moles, now the next concept is you need to go back from moles to grams. And it's basically the same principle. There's nothing new about this one except you just have to use the right conversion factor. So now we're going to go from moles, and then we're going to go back to grams, right? So we'll have grams here. Same basic process as before. You're given the number of moles, all right, and then you need to convert back to grams. So the first step is make sure you know the molar mass, because that's going to become important again. So calculate molar mass if not known. Calculate molar mass. Of compound or element or whatever. Okay, so once you calculate the molar mass, because we're going to need that for the next part of the thing, and then step 2 is set up a conversion equation. All right, and then step 3 is just insert values, insert values, and then do math, and then do the conversion. So input values, and then do the conversion, and do conversion. Okay, so that's pretty much the standard process that we use for everything, right? So input values and then do conversion. Okay. So let's just do one real quick here. So we're just going to go back to the water example. So let's say now I have 5 moles of H2O. And I want to know how many grams. So how many grams? Right? How many grams? So it's basically of H2O. It's basically the same process as before. So this time this is our have. 5 moles is what we have. So we're going to put that down here and say 5 moles of H2O. And again, I might always put that over 1. And then you're going to multiply that by now we need the molar mass again, so we need to put 18 grams on the top, because we know that that's how many things, that's what we're going to be looking for. So the grams on the top is always what we're looking for. And then we put 1 mole of H2O on the bottom. We know that 1 mole of H2O weighs 18 grams, so now we want to know how much 5 moles equals. And so if we do the math here, you get 90 grams. Right? So as the moles will cancel, and we get 90 grams. So in this case, when you're going from moles to grams, you do a multiplication operation. So you're multiplying the number of moles times the molar mass. So once you do the multiplication operation, you should get the correct value for going from moles to grams. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So on the next page, there's some more practice problems for the video, and you should try those. And then if you should then complete your worksheet if you have a worksheet to do with this video. Okay, so here's some practice problems that you can do on your own, right? So I've given you the material in the left column, the number of moles of that material I've given you, and I want you to find out how many grams are in the number of moles that I've given you. So you can stop the video now, do your calculations, and then come back and I'll reveal the answers. All right, so stop the video now. Okay, you're back. So here are the answers that I've given you, and you can see they're all on the right-hand side in red. And on the last one, the H3O3, I showed you how I did my work to get my answer. So if your answers don't match, you should go back and try and figure out what you did wrong. And if you still can't figure it out, you should come find me. So that ends the lessons on going from molar mass to moles, and then moles back to grams to moles, and then moles to grams.